remarks that I'm going to say tonight to the city council, and I want you to print it. So yeah, I'm emailing it to you, and I want you to print it and have it on my desk. And then if I can, which I think I am, then I want to make sure I have that. Then look at it, let me know what you think. All right, okay, bye. Hey, how you doing today, ma'am?
Good, how are you?
I called you today.
Sorry,
Yeah, I was trying to get the code to get in.
oh, it's on that letter I emailed you.
I know it. I was trying to find. I was driving, and I was trying.
Happy Valentine's Day.
See, there you
Now,
go.
they may change it sometime, but they
Oh,
do change it.
yeah. Okay. You know, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Now you know. You got
Now,
that.
boy, yeah. I was saying, that's it. Now we'll be doing it. They're
Now
gonna change it.
you're never gonna forget.
Yeah. How you doing, sir? Everything okay? Okay. I can tell. You get better though.
Okay.
You can just know.
Nice to meet you. Hey, Melissa Austin. Nice to meet you. Deputy Director. Thank you for attending.
Good to see you.
So
when
I'm so glad you're here. I'm very glad to be here.
Okay.
Thank you. He should be there any minute.
Good to see you. Looking
Well,
good.
I don't know
Looking better
about the
though.
building, but he's
Yeah.
coming. He's on his way. Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, so
Let's wait till
talk about it.
Tiffany said she was over here yesterday.
Old business.
She's over there.
Not
Maybe
this.
that's the book. Everybody's in place.
Oh, that's right. Hey,
Because I read out. It's like Thursday on page 12. So I gave her a paper.
is that old business or new business? Oh, how much? Okay. I just want to put it on here. Make sure, yeah. So you're gonna bring a motion to do this.
In the foundation.
Okay.
Now here, tell me if you didn't like this.
Oh, here it is, right here.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That was supposed to be put in writing, so you're welcome to that.
Okay. Okay. But you got another copy, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Okay, cool. How you doing, sir? How you treat you? All right.
Really? Like, really?
It's not your way.
Hey, William Green.
Hey, hey, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Hey, I like treating.
Good.
Good to see you.
Hey, brother. Come here. That thing working?
Oh yeah. I heard him perform when the governor kicked off the 250 and Memorial Day. had them there, and it was they were really good. They couldn't. They were.
Very good company. And here we go.
I told her, baby Thompson. Okay.
I'll go check.
Okay, yeah, all right. It's loaded.
We didn't put.
Hey, Logan, good to see this lady from Richmond. I brought my representative from Maryland.
I guess we're just waiting for Dee and Les to be able to come here.
Yeah, I live in Craig Lester's district.
She was going to check.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you for coming.
Todd is coming down early in the day.
No, I actually have them. I'm going to bring them to the last meeting, so it helps me for some reason. I know. Too much time for the screen.
Okay.
That's right.
Thank you for coming.
Did you want me to say that? Or you,
Yes.
her to
Marilyn
say?
Land.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to
I
meet
am
you.
well. Nice to meet you.
Me? Her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
I'm not sure. You'll do it.
Got it. Not today. I'll read that before the storm. Last didn't have his camera on, so I couldn't hear him.
Okay, that's fine.
You're okay with that on babies when we're only here?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Get everybody plugged in.
Yes, sir. What'd you say, again? There.
Are we able to hear them now? Right, we able to hear them right now, Les and
Supposed to. We
Bibi.
can test them.
okay.
I don't know where they
We can call the roll. If we don't hear them, I guess we just have to stop. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to. You're gonna do it. Okay. Should we walk this way? Who's he saying? Hey, Randy. Has his
Okay,
seat.
Mr. Executive Director, would you, Mr. Executive Director, would you please give the notice of prior notice to the meeting?
Sufficient notice was given as required by the Alabama Open Meetings Act for this AETC meeting on the Alabama Secretary of State's website and on app broadcasts and website.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Secretary Logan Glass, will you please call the roll?
Tawana Adetunji. Les Barnett.
Here.
P. Conroy.
Here.
Logan Glass, here. William Green.
Here.
Ferris Stevens.
Here.
B.B. Williams.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have quorum.
Okay. Thank you. I will call this meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is the review of minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as they are.
I second.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Okay, second,
Second.
okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the setting of other business. If there's not any, we will go to the reports of the executive director.
All right, welcome, everyone. I'm Melissa Austin, Deputy Director and CFO. I'm going to read to you a message from our Executive Director, Wayne Reed. I want to thank everyone for being here. Melissa will be my voice today. Since the last meeting, I had to have an emergency tracheotomy, which means I cannot currently speak. I will get my voice back, but I am still in the healing process. Thank you to everyone for your kind words and prayers for my return to health. I'm feeling better and hopefully will be back to full health soon. I apologize in advance if I have to get up. I apologize in advance if I have to get up and leave quickly. Try not to be a distraction from the meeting. Thank you. All right, we will get started. Prefacing, if anybody wants to speak at the conclusion of either of the meetings, just remember you have to fill out a form, which are located outside the door. So if anybody has not done that, please make sure you do so. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is Sweet Home 250. It was a July 4th event, really July 3rd and July 4th event at American Village in Vonnevallo, celebrating the semi-centennial event for the country. We had a large planning process and broadcast live there on the evening of July 4th. It was a 3-hour event. Our show is titled APT Live at Sweet Home 250. It was hosted by our Capital Journal host, Todd Stacy, and former BRC reporter, Melanie Posey. It took a village, as they say, to get this show in production, from our programming department to our graphics department, planning the show from Todd and his entire team, engineering, of course, had a hand in it. Everybody in this entire building, I think, had a hand in getting this show off the ground. Thompson Tractor was our main sponsor. We also profiled our America 250 vignettes in the commercial breaks, or in the breaks during the show, but also within the show as well. Well, there were live music and performers. There were live interviews with Senator Arthur Orr and Cam Ward, and Alabama Air National Guard 187 Fighter Wing Flyover, and then ended the show with a fireworks show. I'm going to flip through some images and let Todd Stacy elaborate more. Todd?
Yes, well, there we are. It was fantastic. It was such an honor because as someone, I mean, first of all, my favorite holiday is the 4th of July, and I've been looking forward to this 250th with great anticipation. And I guess when Wayne asked me months ago, like, hey, by the way, we've signed up to do this, big 250th event at American Village, I guess I didn't really, grasp exactly just what, the depth of what that meant. What American Village did and put on was absolutely spectacular, not just in terms of spectacle and what you want to celebrate, but history. I think everybody's familiar with the American Village and what it does and its education mission. That was on full display, and we got to showcase part of it. And that was just a real honor, and I really appreciate Melanie Posey, who I guess, Daniel, you recommended. She was a terrific co-host. She got to go to, when you're doing live TV, she's interviewing people in the crowd, different parts of the program and everything. Yeah, okay. That's Cam Ward. He, Director of Pardons and Parole. He is the chairman of the American Village. So we got to showcase all kinds of different parts of it. It was just a treat, a real honor, and I think thanks to everybody that helped put it on, because I think we did it justice. And I was nervous going in because, when you're asked to do something of that significance, you really want to do it justice. And I was worried, how am I gonna figure that out? But I think we really did. So thanks to everybody. And we should mention the production team. It's the same production team that we use for high school sports, for the football and basketball championships. They're pros. They make it easy. They make it. Oh yeah, there's Uncle Sam. y'all know Jay Danny, and the Blind Boys of Alabama. Now they really stole the show. And if you watched any of it, you know that. So anyway, I'll quit dithering on. But it was a fantastic show. We showcased not only the 4th of July, but the 250th, and I think we gave a really good commercial, if you will, for American Village, and that's a good thing to do. That's a good thing to be a part of. So, thank you.
American Village is the one that ran America 250 for Alabama. They were really the same thing, and so
Right.
in a sense, it was a national event as well. And
I got to interview Thomas Jefferson, which was a first. There he is. Yeah. Well, if you know American Village, you know they're in character, right? So it's hard. And it's all live. So it's like, what do you ask Thomas Jefferson? Not the actor, the person, And so that was really interesting and a real treat.
And I was asked to do the time capsule for America 250 Alabama, and so I was not going to be the chairman of the Educational Television Commission, Public Television, without having a schedule, and so y'all provided me the schedule. And I just wanted to mention that you were the main focus of the, so people 250 years from now are going to see how men wore their beards.
Oh, boy.
It was a great event for sure. Melanie Poole with American Village, who's their communications and community engagement vice chair, she's watched the entire event after, of course, it was over, and sent us a note, and she said that it was the best reporting on American Village that has ever been done. You all shined a bright light on American Village and what we are doing here. I'm a proud Alabamian, as I know many more are. Everyone I've spoken to who has seen the coverage is just blown away. We cannot thank you enough. So it was a fantastic job by everyone. So. All right, and more on the American 250. Heather?
Yes, as Melissa mentioned, as part of the live coverage, when they were going to breaks or Todd just needed to catch his breath, we were able to share some of our 76 vignettes that we created for America's 250th anniversary. These are 1-minute little kind of facts and did you know kind of things. They have an American history focus, but also there's some Alabama specific content as well. We scrambled and had all of these completed by the end of June, so everything was up in time for the 4th of July. We actually are distributing them to local public media stations nationwide through NETA, which is the National Education Television Association. They are one of many additional distributors to PBS and public media around the nation, and all of these vignettes have also gone out, and they were thrilled to get them. They said that they were just really great content, and they thought that stations would appreciate having bite-sized information to kind of fill in between programming. And they are, of course, available through our APT website. We built out an entire section of the website. It's searchable by subject, but chronologically, alphabetically. If you're looking for something, head to our website. It's just aptv.org/America250. And they're also available on demand to anyone in the U.S. through the PBS app. And I believe we have one to show.
Which founding father saved George Washington's life? John Jay is the author of 5 Federalist Papers and was the first U.S. Chief Justice. According to the CIA, he was also America's first national-level counterintelligence chief. In 1776, he was responsible for flushing out any threats to American independence. During the Revolutionary War, he led operatives and missions, including stopping a plot to kill George Washington. This espionage prompted the Americans to strengthen their counterintelligence program. Later, Jay had a big role in ensuring the executive branch had the power to conduct intelligence activities in secrecy. Today, his impact lives on through U.S. intelligence agencies like the CIA and the FBI.
I believe there's one more.
In the New World, where Protestants were the majority, founding father Charles Carroll of Maryland was unique. Catholics were largely denied the right to vote or hold political office in British colonies, but Carroll's Catholic faith didn't stop him from advocating for American independence. In 1773, using the pseudonym First Citizen, he published a series of letters opposing fees to hold office and warning against tyranny. Carroll broke religious barriers in 1775 when he joined the Anti-British Committee for Public Safety. Then in 1776, he was elected Maryland's delegate for the Second Continental Congress. And Charles wasn't the only trailblazer in the family. Pope Pius VI appointed his cousin, Father John Carroll, as America's first Catholic bishop. Charles Carroll was the only Catholic to sign the Declaration of Independence. He was also the last surviving founder, passing away in 1832 at the age of 95.
And one more highlight from you, from our content team. We finished up our first broadcast season of Garden Party. It was an 8-episode season with 4 of the episodes coming out this last quarter. And our season finale received a 0.67 rating, which, if you don't know how rating works, it's really, really good for a local program. It was in the top 20 of all program ratings nationally for that day, for that evening. And this may be due in part that we were talking about it a whole lot on all of our digital platforms, because we definitely saw a huge jump in increase on our digital platforms as well, with 179% increase over the previous quarter. So I just wanted to shout out Garden Party for having a really successful end to its first season. It will be returning for the next season in November. We'll have a slew of episodes focusing on fall. All of the fall and winter holidays. There's a Thanksgiving special, features Wayne, and also Christmas special as well. So look for that to come back in the fall.
Thank you. Great, great accomplishment for Garden Party, and huge undertaking for the vignettes, for sure. Y'all have done a great job. All right, with engineering and operations, Daniel Black.
Morning, everyone. Just to update you on some projects we have going on that we had that actually kind of began last quarter and carrying over into this quarter and even the quarter after that. First, we'll touch on our new transmitter site up in Winfield, WJIQ. So that building, the transmitter renovation building, went out to bid, and we only had one bidder. It was way too high, over budget. We're going back. We made some design changes. We're going back. That's going to get rebid in the next 2 weeks. We've got to build a new tower up there. That bid is actually opening this afternoon, so we'll start work on that very soon. After that, we've got we need to replace our transmitter building at Mount Cheehaw. If you've been up there, you know it's not in great shape. It's a very old building. We actually have a meeting with our design firm, SS&A of Montgomery. We have a meeting August 12th up there to start preliminary discussions on replacing that building. We've just replaced our main ASI encoder in our network operations center downstairs, and what that does is that defines the characteristic of your television station. It sends out, it takes all the ones and zeros, it turns it into the pretty picture you see on television. The old one we had was from 2014. It was a workhorse, but it was time. It started showing end of life signs, so we went ahead and replaced it with a brand new one. So I'm a little biased, but to me, we've got the best picture quality and audio quality in the Birmingham DMA now, probably statewide. We look fantastic on the air. We thankfully had a backup we switched to, so we weren't off the air. There was no downtime. So we bought a backup just like that ASI encoder, which will be here this coming up week, as well with the auto changeover unit in between. So if this new encoder dies for whatever reason, it'll automatically switch to the backup, and it'll be seamless. No one at home will know the difference. We also upgraded our EAS encoder, our emergency alert system encoder here downstairs at the NOC that sends out emergency alert systems statewide. Right now, we're not doing any type of weather warnings right now, but that's going to change in the near future. Right now, we're sending out our what's required by the FCC, which are weekly and monthly reports and any national tests that come out from Washington, D.C. So we send out what's mandated by the FCC right now, but our plan is to regionalize our emergency alert system statewide. So we'll be deploying more of these encoders at every transmitter site so that if there's a tornado warning in Marengo County, there will be a crawl, and you'll hear the alert tones from Marengo County, and everybody else in the state still sees Antiques Roadshow with no kind of interruption, no EAS alerts or anything. So it'll geo-target specific transmitter sites throughout the state. We've got our Madison Avenue studio lighting project, which I just received an update on this morning. So we're relighting our smaller studio. We have two studios in Montgomery at Madison Avenue, a slightly larger one, which Todd and his crew are occupying now. We'll talk about that shortly. But the smaller studio is where we shoot our Scholar Bowl with Mike and his crew each year. And we're relighting that entire studio. It's already got new cameras in there, new teleprompter system. So we thought now's a good time to go ahead and get that relit. And we'll have space for Todd and his guys to shoot in there as well, since we've already moved them out of the current State House because they're building a new State House in Montgomery, which we will be occupying in the next year, hopefully. And then the flooding, if you'll remember, a couple of months back really kind of threw a kink in the gears, if you will, because we had to move these guys out sooner rather than later. And his guys did a really good job, along with the rest of the engineering guys, in relocating their things from the current State House over to Madison Avenue and all their gear. So we're now shooting Capitol Journal out of Madison Avenue and not the current State House anymore. We've got plans to remove the rest of our equipment over to Madison Avenue temporarily.
Daniel, was there damage to any of the equipment?
There was not any damage, thankfully. It just reached right down the hall from where we were, so there was no damage to any of our equipment.
It just smelled bad.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was the biggest complaint, and rightfully so, was the smell. So
it's never smelled great.
Yeah. So, we got these guys out, and we're moving the equipment out very shortly. The rest of the equipment.
Does the old State House come down?
Probably by the end of the year. That's what they hope, at least.
I think they're starting to move people out the last quarter of this year. And I'm not sure, I think we were originally a part of that, but we went ahead and jumped the gun and moved
Right.
out.
So we were gonna go ahead and move to Madison Avenue temporarily, probably September,
September,
August,
October, yeah.
But, y'all remember that special session that happened, there was a flood. It was actually kind of an interesting situation because I was in the Senate, at the 7th floor of the State House, when the tornado warning happened. Well, there's a tornado warning. Where's everybody go when the tornadoes are here? To the basement. That's where our studio is. So we had the Speaker of the House and his staff came down to our studio. We're waiting out the storm. Well, then the tornado warning goes away, but the flood starts. And if you saw the pictures, the flood was absolutely on our doorstep, in our loading dock. And so then everybody goes upstairs, but we can't go anywhere. And so no equipment got damaged, but it did get into our conference room. And if you walked into that State House, that first floor right now, you'd probably fall over because it's so bad. The reason we wanted to move was just health, because you're getting so much mold and so much mildew smell. So we're very happy. Thank you, Daniel, and your team, and Keith and Jada and everybody that set us up. We're very happy to be there temporarily. And mold free for now. But yes, the new State House is under construction. And I get, should we touch on that, or are you, I'm sorry, I didn't
We
mean to-
can, no, you're good. So we, SS&A of Montgomery, who we've contracted with, they're kind of spearheading, they're acting as our general contractor on all these major projects. They just received the CAD files from the RSA general contractor yesterday morning, so they can begin the design work for the new State House build-out, which will include an all-new studio for Capitol Journal, office spaces for Todd and his crew, editing suites, a green room, reception area, new control room. So everything is a ground-up, brand-new build for these guys. So we're really excited about that. We're really excited to get started, and all of the equipment going in there will be brand new. We're getting all new equipment. It's a new building. It's time to start over fresh, so we're going to get all new equipment for these guys, and they'll be in very good shape.
What's the potential for 4K in both locations?
Madison Avenue would be probably last behind the State House, but we're looking at doing 4K in the State House along with the television standard SMPTE 2110, which is IP connection to all the equipment, rather than having bundles and bundles of audio video cable everywhere. You just have one Cat5 cable connecting, different equipment to a main network closet. So yes, that's on the.
But Madison Avenue in the.
Madison Avenue in the distant future.
I think,
Yes.
because I think there's some rental possibilities there too. I understand it would
Yes.
possibly be the only 4K studio available.
Yes, in the state.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's.
What are the advantages of the 4K? What does 4K mean?
So 4K. So right now, 4K is just a higher quality video product, better definition, no artifacting, better quality, both audio and video. It's what they shoot, major sporting events in now. So in order for us to do that, if we were to do that, we could offer the Madison Avenue space up for lease to different documentary makers. If you want to come shoot a car commercial in there, and these people, it would save them from driving to Atlanta or Charlotte, and we could offer a little better rate, in the beginning if they want to do that. Come in and shoot, what have you in our studio there in 4K and have everything they need right there, from cameras to control rooms to lighting grid to everything and anything you need. Video walls, green screens, we'll have all of that. So that is
Great.
Pete, that is in the plan.
I'm excited
The
about
master
that.
plan.
Okay.
So,
And Georgia Public Television they earn like 7 figures a year.
off their rental.
Rental.
Yeah. Mhm. So there is the potential to do that. We'd probably charge Mike a little more to come in and do, but.
Of course.
Well, if I may, to that end, since we've been doing Capitol Journal at Madison Avenue, which you haven't been down there, it's just massive. Like the scope of what it is compared to the State House is incredible. And so we had a couple of guests of note. One is Dr. Tania Stewart. Y'all may remember her from Into the Heat of the Night, Time to Kill, acclaimed film actor, director, producer. Well, she's now involved with the Alabama Film Office in getting, growing the Alabama film industry. And I mentioned, Wayne and Melissa, that, hey, we want this idea, we have this idea of Madison having this potential, and her eyes were just wide, saying this could be a huge potential. I've been meaning to talk to y'all about this. So that was one. And then we had Mayor Stephen Reed come in. Same thing. He said, goodness gracious, this space is just so much potential. So you're right, and Daniel's right. There is so much potential there on Madison, especially if when we relocate to the State House with our little political thing. There's the space. We've enjoyed the building because it is fantastic, and so I hope we can take advantage of it.
That would be great financially, but it would also be great just positioning APT leading, on the cutting edge.
Service to the state.
You got it.
And it would enhance the state's position in the film industry as well.
It's a great connection.
For
Daniel,
sure.
do you have a date of when you're hoping to be 4K over there? I've begged for it for years.
I don't right off. There's not a timetable. We're trying to, one thing at a time, and right now it's new State House. So once that's kind of off the plate and these guys are moved in, then we can turn all of our attention to Madison rather than having all of our plates spinning at one time. So.
It's expensive.
And there's money. So that's, yeah. But to round up and finish up really quickly, the smaller studio there at Madison is about to get a complete lighting overhaul, all new studio lights, where we do shoot Scholar Bowl. We're moving the Capitol Journal set from the current State House over to that studio, the smaller studio there at Madison, so it will give these guys flexibility if they want to shoot there, as opposed to Studio A where they are now, or interviews or what have you. We'll have that flexibility, but it will be getting all new lights, and that work is set to start August 24th. And then lastly, we talked about the July 4th event, but shout out to my engineering team, John Albee here in our Network Operations Center, and Jake Ballard on site at American Village. We pulled off, we don't typically do a whole lot of live, so when I first got here, the thought of mentioning live threw everybody in a panic, and coming from the world of commercial television, I did live every day, and it was no big deal, but you get here and it's, it's a different story, so I've tried to change that mindset where it's live TV. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's no big deal. It's just our job to get it from point A to point B as seamlessly and flawlessly as possible. And that's exactly what we did for the America's 250 celebration from American Village. And Todd Melanie did a fantastic job, and our guys did a fantastic job on a flawless execution on the engineering end of getting the signal back from Montevallo to here and all over the state. That's all I had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with programming and public information, Mike McKenzie.
Thank you. We've already talked about some great programming already. We had 260 total local programs that we produced for the third quarter, which was 165.5 hours of programming. That included our Capitol Journal weeklies, our Capitol Journal nightlies for the end of the legislative session and for the special session after that. We had Muscle Shoals to Music Row continuing from our friends up at Big River Broadcasting in the Shoals. They did a whole special month of looking back at the 70s with a special concert series that they shot over the last several years up there. And we had the second installment of Jeffrey's Southern Ghosts, produced by the Digital Department, Spectre in the Maze. And we're going to be bringing a whole set of Jeffrey's Southern Ghosts to our October schedule leading up to Halloween. These are just great reimaginings of Catherine Tucker Wyndham's ghost stories, 13 Ghosts and Jeffrey et al. So excited about those. We talked, I think, at the last meeting, giving a forward look at Blaze, The Trails of Alabama, just a fantastic production out of JSU and Longleaf Studios, looking at the trail systems in the state of Alabama, all the different things that you can do out there, and the great benefits to the state from that. We had Jamie Johnson and Friends, a concert special shot there at the Randy Owens Center. And that just a couple days after that, as a matter of fact. Spotlight on Agriculture by Mike Owsley's team. That RFSI is the Resilient Food Infrastructure Program that provides better markets to small farmers and support and development of value-added products for consumers. And we did a short documentary on Ron Creel, who was the founder of the Alabama State Games some 40 years ago, and looked at his legacy and everything that came from the state games, which we also broadcast the opening ceremonies for in June. Also, Heather already mentioned Garden Party, spring and summer on from our digital production team. Alabama Gospel Roots continued, also from Mr. Owsley over here. Alabama Career Connection, showing state job opportunities. Alabama Scholars Bowl continued. We were just talking about how that shot down in our studio down in Montgomery, and that gets a lot of attention from those high school teams and their parents. We had a new season of Buzz in Birmingham, which featured stories on the Hank Poor Foundation, which serves people with disabilities, Respite for Grace, dementia care, Addiction Prevention Coalition, and Kid One Transport. And Varsity Extra, which was two programs exploring the variety of activities of high school students across the state. And of course, we mentioned Sweet Home 250, which was actually just inside this quarter as being a great success. For national programming in the third quarter, we had our PBS summer dramas, Call the Midwife, The Forsyths, and The Count of Monte Cristo on Sunday nights. Those continue to be both huge successes of our streaming, of our linear audience watching on TV, and also heavily streamed, the most streamed programs. All Creatures Great and Small is the absolute most favorite program these days. Doesn't matter what happens, we just keep people wanting to come back to that series, which is a delight for all of those who grew up reading the books. Antiques Roadshow, Alabama viewership continues to be one of the highest in the whole nation. People in Alabama really love their Antiques Roadshow, which is kind of the I think of it as the penultimate public television show. It's history, it's personal stories, it's all kinds of great things that all come together. We also had great programs from Nature and Nova, and we did a re-showing of American Revolution, the six-part Ken Burns series. Sir David Attenborough celebrated his 100th birthday in May, and we celebrated that with Life on Earth, Attenborough's Greatest Adventure, and a number of repeats of his earlier programs for Nature. Lucy Worsley Investigates the American Revolution. Lucy is just a really dynamic figure, again, a huge ratings favorite, viewership favorite, and she looked at two different angles of the American Revolution, how it's kind of viewed a little bit differently over across the pond. Think of that. I actually saw some really good interviews with Ken Burns and a couple of British historians who do a podcast talking about how it's almost not in their history books. It's kind of written off, because if you think about the American Revolution, and the battles were just not the British won a lot of them, but compared to Waterloo and what happened right after that with the French, it kind of pales in comparison. And of course, they had a big civil war just before the American Revolution. So anyway, if you want to check that out, you can certainly find that on YouTube. We did another great National Memorial Day concert in May, always one of the most watched programs of the season from PBS, paying tribute to those who have served our country and paid the ultimate price. Great performances brought us the musical Suffs on the Suffragettes off of Broadway, and a fantastic Josh Groban. As we moved into June, we had our new dramas, Patience 2 and Grantchester Season 11. Grantchester's been one of the most popular mysteries for years and years, and this is the 11th and final season. We're sad to to see that wind down. But if you're enjoying it, please do. It's the #1 streaming program right now, along with all the past 10 seasons, which are available to members. The Last Twins, a fantastic documentary on a man who during the Nazi Holocaust was put in charge of some of the dormitories and the processing of twins that were going to be the subject of experimentation. And he did some things that, had he been caught, would have cost him his life to save children. And at the end of the war, when the prison camps were liberated, in the dark of the fall and the winter, led hundreds of children from that camp all the way back home into Germany. So that was a fantastic program. Becoming Catherine Graham, the story of the lady whose husband was head of the Washington Post, passed away, and she took over at an incredible time in history and defied the odds to continue the Washington Post. Kimberley, Australia's Wild West, was a fantastic look. We just finished that up at the Outback, where incidentally Alabama Public Television was kind of born. It was where the Australian postal system used something called microwave to transmit information vast distances, and one of our engineers went over there and saw the potential to just hook up the radio signal to that, and made Alabama the first public television network. Let's see. Upcoming local program. We've got a new Bluegrass on the Rim coming our way from the folks again at JSU. Always a great concert there up at the Canyon Center. We're looking forward to bringing that out at the end of this month. At the beginning of August, we got a celebration of Alabama arts. This is the biennial program done by the Alabama State Council on the Arts. This year it honored Eric Essex, the guitarist and photographer, recording artist here in Birmingham, Scott Wright, Ralph Fulshin Jr., Gary Waldrop, Debbie Bond, Gary Chapman, and George Culver. And we'll be airing that the first Sunday in August. For the anniversary of the Coast Guard, or the birthday of the Coast Guard, we're bringing back Paratus, the 20th anniversary. That production, done by Caitlin Smith, followed up on her first hour-long documentary on the Coast Guard rescues during Hurricane Katrina. I was delighted to go to the Emmy Awards back in May and accept an Emmy for Best Historical Documentary on her behalf. Spotlight on Agriculture is going to bring us Pollinators on August 6th. And also from JSU, we've got My Home's in Alabama, the Randy Owens story coming. And let's just go ahead and pop over to that trailer if we could.
You have to be true to yourself, I think. At the same time, you got to be willing not to burn bridges for good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alabama!
Alabama stands among the most celebrated bands in country music history.
There's not an Alabama song that comes on that somebody doesn't know who it is right off the bat. Hearing somebody sing a song that was about my life, it's something that I felt.
They've picked up more than 200 major awards along the way. And they are easily one of the most recognizable bands in country music.
They were equal parts bar band and professional touring outfit. They never outgrew the bar band, though.
But for lead singer and songwriter Randy Owen, the heartbeat of Alabama has always been home.
I love that he wrote exactly what it was like, you know, and it felt like he was singing it to me.
You can't have a football team without a quarterback. You can't have a good band without having a front man. I don't think there's ever been a better singer come down the pike.
There's a particular attitude that he puts in every single one of those songs that without him, they're just not the same.
And even with all the fame and success, Randy never drifted far from where he started.
The production quality, you can see, obviously, some of those old clips aren't looking great, but the views of the state of Alabama, it's very clear why no matter where he roams, where he wants to lay his head is here in Alabama. Let's see. High school football returns right after that at the end of August. We've got the kickoff classic on August 20th, and then we'll have nightly games Thursday nights throughout September and October. The playoffs on Friday nights in November, and the championships in December. Always just a tremendous audience builder for us. I've had a lot of questions about airing football and basketball on public television, and a lot of states have done this for 20 and 30 years. It's very big over in Georgia, Nebraska, Wisconsin. What we clearly see is that people come to these games that don't usually watch Alabama public television, and we can see from the ratings that they stick around and continue watching other stuff. And so there's not a better commercial you could have than having on those football games to bring more people to the rest of our programming. We've got a special marathon of sidewalk films just before Sidewalk Film Festival starts here in Birmingham. These are all documentaries that have been produced by Alabama Public Television, or we've aired them after their shows at Sidewalk. Shuttlesworth, a fantastic production that we did here. Big Mama Thornton, Alabama Kid. Tuxedo Junction, The Almost Lost Story. The Torch, which is a story of the Holocaust and Holocaust survivors. The Wall of Sound, about the Miles College Band. And Restoration of the Lyric Theater by one of the great storytellers, Norton Dill. Go to the next. We'll have, in September, a Higher Education Matters from our great team down at the Capital Journal. Rubato Behind the Keys, which is a story of the Rubato International Piano Competition that happened in Oxford last year. It's done by students, and it's not absolutely the most polished production, but it's a really, really great student production. Shows what high school students with good teachers can do. We actually had our production team go over and do classes with the students before they shot this, and they really did a fantastic job. Look forward to that coming in September. Making History Together, that's a new film from Norton Dill on the story of the first black student who enrolled in University of North Alabama. And it happens that Norton's great uncle was the dean of the college at that time, and he said, you know, you can't enroll here under Alabama law. I can't let you in, but here's how you could sue the state to let you in. He has gone on to become not only a graduate and get his master's degree, but he's a part of the board of the University of North Alabama now. So a great story. Again, I mentioned Jeffrey's Southern Ghosts, A Noble Experiment, which is a look at the Italian migration to South Alabama, the Fairhope area, back in the late 1800s, which we'll do in October. I think we've got, upcoming national programming. Right now, Once Upon a Time in Space. It just premiered last week. The second episode is on tonight. This is just an incredible look at the personal stories of the astronauts, of the engineers on the ground, of the people that took us into outer space during the 60s and 70s. We're bringing back American Experience, Chasing the Moon, which came out several years back, particularly looked at what happened up in Huntsville and the growth of that. This Thursday night, we're repeating Missile to Moon, our story of Wernher von Braun and the city of Huntsville. Resolved to Solve with Miles O'Brien, one of the great science reporters from PBS, that will be looking at all kinds of different science issues and great solutions. Great Performances at the Met is coming back in August, which is another very popular series with our classical music fans. Got more great mysteries coming our way from PBS, Marlowe Murder Club and the Marble Hall Murders, which are the last set of books from Anthony Horowitz following the writer Susan Ryland and the fictional character who comes to life from the series of books. Nature has got some great new pieces coming up, including Sesame Street and the Elephants in October, which is going to be a very special integration of some of the Muppets and the Nature series. Nova's got some great episodes coming up. American Masters, Great Performances has got new music specials coming up, including specials on Tammy Wynette in September and October and November. Do I have more? Oh. We've also been putting out the guide in our public information department every month, focusing on all the things that we're doing on television. We produced our June Pledge Drive, including some great breaks. I had the pleasure of working with the host of our Garden Party series, Trace Barnett. We did a Garden Party Pledge special, and we did some fun things in the studio, like this, where we're putting together a terrarium with neat growies. And I've got this beautiful piece of driftwood that he left behind for me on my desk. Brit Floyd and Fab Four concerts were some of the biggest producers of our funding. Happy to say this was our most successful June pledge in 5 years. I just had the honor to ask for the money. It's the members like you and your generous donations that make it a success. And particularly since the event that happened a year ago yesterday with the defunding of public broadcasting on the federal level, that support, of course, continues to be more important than ever. So thank you for everyone who helps us with that. We did some great on-air spots. Tiffany, you're going to show some of these, I think, in your presentation. These are vignettes of our young heroes of Alabama, who we celebrate every year. This is, I think, our 25th year of Young Heroes of Alabama, and provide scholarships now of $10,000 each to those deserving students for their academic achievement, for overcoming obstacles, and for really being great emblems of the state of Alabama. We also continue to promote fundraising opportunities like our travel. We had I think our biggest group of travelers in years just recently went to see the great landmarks of the Revolution with us, and we've got several big trips coming up in 2027. We continue to show folks different ways that they can help fill the gap with their financial support. We're promoting our YouTube channel and many other things. Next. And our Pet Club, a new opportunity that we just launched in May during Pet Month. And I think we've got just one more sample to Do you have a furry friend who joins you on the couch while you enjoy your favorite programs on APT? We're celebrating these beloved companions with the new APT Pet Club, a special donation option for animal lovers who believe in public television. Pet Club memberships include an official membership certificate, an exclusive Pet Club bandana, member-only discounts and coupons, access to PBS Passport, and the opportunity to have your pet featured on TV, our website, and/or social media. It's the perfect way to celebrate your pets while supporting the programming you love. Sign your pet or pets up today. Visit aptv.org/pet club.
Great idea.
He's your next pet.
Okay, yeah. Join and send your pet pictures. We'd love to share them. I want to thank my great team in graphics and video production and everything for all their hard work putting those together. And if anybody was having trouble hearing those, we'll play them back for you later. Later on.
Thanks, Mike.
You.
All right, Jack?
We wrapped up another, I think, successful session in the legislature this year. We ended up with a 1.54% increase from the legislature, which brings us to just short of $11 million. I think it's $10,854,000, if I remember correctly, 850-something thousand, and a $4 million supplemental appropriation to finish the State House studio. I think some of the things we talked about today show the importance of what we do and how it impacts things in Montgomery. And first of all, I want to recognize Representative Lands, who's here, drove down from Huntsville this morning. She's a relatively 2 years in the House. Do I remember that correctly? She's in the seat previously held by Representative Mike Ball, who was a great, like Representative Lands, was a great supporter of public television and also a very gifted musician.
And I'm not.
But that's we appreciate your being here and your legislative support. Our high water mark that I've been able to discern from the legislature was 2008, and we had $13 million in the budget that year. Now I don't know. I was in the legislature then. I think Dick and I were both in the House at that time, and I don't know if that was. I don't recall if that was. If there was equipment involved that year or not, but have we managed, 5 years later, we're down to 4.3 million. So we've made some significant progress in the last 6 years. Had we stayed on that same trajectory, we'd be at about $20 million in our budget right now. But just a couple of things about how what we do here impacts and reaches out to rural Alabama. This is like garden party features today, but Trace Barnett, the host of Garden Party, is from Brilliant, Alabama. And population, the population's 1,097. I've been there, I don't believe it. In 2020, the population was 850, and I don't think 250 people have moved there in the last 6 years. If they are, I don't know where they went. But that's how we're reaching out and finding folks in rural Alabama that are entertaining and instructing the entire state. Daniel mentioned our EAS warnings that we're trying to expand. The reason that's important is I don't know if any of you, I wasn't until I got here, so I'm telling any of you something you already know, forgive me, but Alabama has 7 orphan counties. An orphan county is a county that receives its news from an out-of-state source. And we have 3, Lamar County, where we're about to put a new transmitter in, and then Choctaw and Sumter County they're in the Biloxi DMA, Lamar's in the Columbus, Mississippi DMA, and then we've got Cherokee and Chambers, I think, that are in the Atlanta DMA, and then we have 4 counties, Lee, Russell, Randolph, and whatever you follow us in, whatever county that is, Barber County, that are all they're in the Atlanta and the Columbus, Georgia DMA. So if a storm is moving through Mississippi into Alabama, and you're in an orphan county, you get the news of that storm until it hits the Alabama state line, and then the information just goes away. So you may have a storm barreling toward your home, and you don't have someone saying, hey, if you live over by Joe's Rib Shack, you need to go to your safe place. And it's even worse on the eastern side of the state, where a severe storm is moving through the state of Alabama, and folks in these 6 counties don't get any information because the Georgia stations don't pick it up until it hits the Georgia state line. And many of you will recall with me in 2018, there were, I think, 23 people killed in Lee County in a storm that if they had known to get out of their mobile homes and get to a safe place, many of them may have survived that storm. And so we've made it our mission here over the last year to find a way, using the technology that's now available, to increase our ability to fulfill our role of public safety. And that's part of what makes what we do so important, because a mom sits her child down in front of the television, and if there's a warning, maybe the child comes and tells the mom, and it saves them from being a catastrophe being a catastrophe with death. So that's why you hear us talking about expanding EAS warnings. That's something that this state desperately needs, and we're working to fill that void. And then Daniel, of course, mentioned the Kickoff Classic. And we're doing something this year in the Kickoff Classic that we've never done before. Last year, did we do that 2 years? Is this our 3rd year or 2nd year to do that, Wayne? 3rd year to do this. So this year, we're not doing 2 small schools and 2 large schools. We're doing flag football and then a large school. So we're highlighting girls' sports in a way that they've never been highlighted before in our weekly schedule. And then, of course, in December, we'll be carrying 4 flag football games, which is double the number we carried in the past. So that's kind of a lot of the importance of what we do. But after the session was over, Heather and Tiffany and I and a couple of others were in Austin for the PBS meeting. I had the opportunity while we were there to have a dinner that we hosted with 8 different stations and met with 2 other general managers to talk about some ways that we can work together, possibly to increase news coverage and do some things that, the News Hour has taken some hits from folks, and just finding a way to do some things that would not take away from what they do, but add to that, and some new opportunities out there that hopefully we're close to moving on. I've been in D.C. working with meeting with our congressional delegation. I'll be back next month to follow up on some of those meetings. I do believe that federal funding will come back. I don't know that it'll be in the budget they're working on right now, but I know we even have some Republicans and some in our state that are trying to find ways to support local stations, because a year before the rescission vote, there was a meeting in the House, and members across the board spoke about how valuable their public television stations were. And I'm just continuing to go there and drive home that point about the value of what we do, and we're doing this on a broader scale. When I first came here in 2020, which was a month before COVID started, so it took us a couple of years to get this going, but I met with our National Trade Association folks and said, why are we not going to NCSL, the National Conference of State Legislators, and talking about that for a couple of years, persuaded them in 2023 to have a booth in the exhibition hall and talk to legislators from around the country about the importance of state funding. And one of the interesting things I found out over that you guys may find to be interesting, of the state, not every state provides state funding, but 60% of the money spent by states to fund public broadcasting comes from red states. Only 40% come from blue states. WGBH, which is probably the best known public television station in the country, had gone decades without any support from the state of Massachusetts. Last year, NCSL was in Massachusetts. We were there not only with the booth in the exhibition hall, but also with the studio, and we were interviewing legislators who were there, allowing them the opportunity to talk about what they were doing there, why NCSL was important, because a lot of times these get portrayed as junkets, but there's a lot of value that comes out of those meetings. And this year, GBH got $500,000 state funding for the first time. Now Massachusetts, which is significantly larger than us, their $500,000 pales in comparison to the nearly $11 million that our state legislature is providing, but it's still a start. And I'll leave this afternoon. I'll be in Orlando at the ALEC conference, which is a much more conservative group, and first time we'll be there talking to conservative legislators about the importance of public broadcasting, what we're doing we are the only locally owned station in the state of Alabama. And 60 years ago, if I wanted to know what was going on in the Vietnam War, I needed to be in front of the television at 5:30 so I could watch the national news. Today, if I want to know what's going on with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, I pick up my phone and I can find it in a split second. But if I want to know what's going on down the street, I got to look to find it. And that's the importance of the role that we play. And legislators and our congressional delegation and other Republican members of Congress are starting to understand the importance of what we do. That, our emergency warning systems, and the way that the opportunities we have to inform the state, inform the residents of our state and others, the residents of their state, about the importance of what's going on in the state government. So that's been my focus. We'll go back to, we're working on football and basketball funding. I've got a couple of proposals that are out. I'm waiting. I've got a couple of meetings when I get back, but this is what we've been. This is kind of what we do and what I'm doing in external affairs. So.
All right, with educational services. Educational services is Tiffany Armstrong.
Okay, so mine's kind of like, they're all talking about how to get the money and what all that stuff, but we actually go out and see the people. So we're going to tell you a little bit about that. So this past quarter, we had 2 Teachers of the Month. We didn't have one in June because school's on a break, so we get like a 2-month break, and we'll start back in August. But we had, for April, we had Janiyah Gresham, who's the one on the left, and then on the one on the right, we have Joyce Haven. They get $1,000 given to their classroom, and it's amazing the things that they can do with $1,000. The only kind of thing that we ask of them is that in a few months, once they've gotten the money, that they share pictures and stuff with us. So we've had several check on our website, social media, to look at those pictures, but lots of updates from that. I'm going to go kind of quick. Mark, this is Mark Waters. Back in April 30th, he was honored. He's one of our early childhood training specialists, and he was given the Community Partnership Award from Lowndes County Board of Education. So we love when people shout out our staff and things that they're doing. Lowndes County is one that he's gone to several times, does parent workshops, teacher workshops, all that kind of stuff. So we were super excited to honor him and have him get that award from them. He's actually down in Mobile right now at the Mega Conference, doing a bunch of sessions. Okay, and so Mike talked a little bit about this, one of our community engagement and outreach projects. This year was our 25th anniversary for the Young Heroes Award. And as Mike mentioned, these recipients, they receive a $10,000 scholarship and a MacBook computer. And so on April 14th, we were able to bring them to Birmingham to the club to do a luncheon awards for them. Todd was there with his crew. We did a segment for Capital Journal and all that good stuff. And then afterwards, we actually took them all to Vulcan and did a tour, guided tour up there. So it was a lot of fun. So we were going to show you one of the videos, I think, of those Caden Bland.
Meet Caden Bland. Caden is a senior at Billingsley High School with a 4.09 GPA. Shortly after Caden turned 16, she suffered an unexpected seizure which was diagnosed as juvenile epilepsy. This experience began a difficult journey marked by monthly seizures, medication side effects, hospitalizations, and invasive surgeries. Despite these challenges, Caden has returned to cross-country and track competition, FFA public speaking events, and church and community outreach projects, even participating in multiple mission trips to Guatemala.
In my experience, people tend to be inspired by Caden's resilience and her determined and intentional joy, because there are moments of sadness after a seizure or after a setback, but she immediately returns to what she's thankful for and what she's grateful for. And I think that people notice that and are inspired by that. And that people tell me that often, that Caden's attitude is just inspiring.
And the great thing about Caden is that she has not giving up in her DNA of getting up. Every time something happens to maybe set her back a little bit, she gets up, she keeps moving forward, on with the next task, whatever it may be.
I'm a big believer in God woke me up for a reason today, so let's go do something with it. Sure, I struggle with this sometimes, but look at all the blessings that I have. Those are all things that I get to be so happy about, so I try to focus on the good things and show others that may be struggling with something. The best way to get through it is to focus on your blessings.
Learn more about this year's Young Heroes at aptv.org/heroes.
And they're also on social media. So Caden, she was from Billingsley, Alabama. Sweet little girl. So we get to go out and spend a day with them, do some filming and different things. So we get to know them a little bit. Sorry, I should have said this earlier. Grayson Gray was our other winner. He's from Coleman, Alabama. He was a junior, or he's a junior. I guess he's going to be a senior now. He was diagnosed with leukemia. And then Courtney Pride is a senior actually at Alabama School of Fine Arts here in Birmingham. And he just dealing with some adversities growing up, different things. He lived in an apartment full of mold. You talked about the mold earlier. Different things that he's overcome and uses art as a way to express how he's feeling and dealing with things. So it's great stories, and those are on our website, as Mike mentioned in his video. We also had the opportunity to host our Young Writers Awards luncheon. We did that at McWayne. So every year we run a Young Writers contest for kindergarten through third graders. And we get stories from all over the state, little entries. They have different grades, have different rules. We have to have so many words and pictures and all that good stuff. But then we put a committee together and we get a kindergarten, first, second, and third grader, kindergarten, first place through third place, that's what it is. 12 winners total, and all 12 winners showed up this year to our awards day, which was fantastic. And they get gift cards and little trophies you can see in the picture there, and we do a big luncheon, and then at the end of the day, they get to spend the day in McWayne as long as they would like, so it's a lot of fun. So people from all over the state, so that's exciting. This year, we're looking at moving it to the fall, so if you know anyone that might be interested in writing a story, check our website, more information. Okay. And then our education programs. So this time we have a large staff that goes out and does workshops online and in person. So this past quarter we had a total of 71 in-person workshops that took place across the state, which included a couple of conferences. We were at the Gulf Coast Early Childhood Symposium in Gulf Shores, a Family Child Care Partnership Conference in Auburn, and the Parental Leadership Academy that DHR hosted, Department of Human Resources, here in Birmingham. And then this April 25th, we actually hosted our first ever Super Saturday, which was a 6-hour training. We did that here in APT. We used different rooms throughout the building. So that was exciting. So just under 900 people attended our in-person trainings. And we gave out a total of almost 2,400 books, children's books, to those workshops. So everyone that comes to an in-person training receives a set of books related to whatever that topic of the training was they attended. So it was exciting. And then our online classes, So in addition to the in-person trainings, we have online courses for educators. These are both facilitated, so anywhere from 3 to 7 weeks long courses that they have to go into every week, as well as our 2-hour on-demand courses that we run. And so this quarter alone, we had over 8,500 people complete our online courses. So definitely our biggest way of touching and reaching people. And close to almost 400,000 children indirectly reached through that. So what's coming up? So Mike mentioned the first one. We have a premiere show, Nature, is going to join forces with Sesame Street. That show will debut in October, but in September we'll have some events. We're working with the Birmingham Zoo and Boaz Public Library to do some screening events around that, so we're excited. The America 250, we have been at an American Village for this is week 2, it's 3 weeks now. There's a lot of social studies teachers there getting trained in different topics. There's a new course of study. So we have a total of 5 trainings that we're doing it there, and then we actually have one coming up in August in partnership with the Department of Archives and History, so we'll be there as well. And then Alma's Way, we have a big event coming around the show for Alma's Way the first week in October around transportation, and we're working with the Department of, City of Birmingham and the Transit Authority. So we're excited about that. So check our website for all that information. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, next, we are going to update everybody on McLaughlin and Associates that was discussed in the April board meeting that was voted on to use for a survey to be conducted. Last week, we received the contract for McLaughlin and Associates to conduct the survey. We received it on Thursday. As a result, we have not had a chance to thoroughly review it just yet. However, there are some questions in the quick review that we have done. There are some questions that we do need to address. The survey cost is what we discussed in April. It's $47,400, the 600 sample size of the population in Alabama. It's a 20-minute survey and will be about 45 to 50 questions. One of the questions that we have that we've got to get more clarification on is the contract scope that they've listed in the agreement. It mentions consulting and survey analysis, but it also mentions public opinion, polling, research, advertising, fundraising, scheduling, organization, press and media, staffing, consulting, survey analysis services, advice regarding public opinion polling, research, advertising, fundraising, scheduling, organization, press and media, staffing, and other services as requested, and also designates themselves as our media buyer. So we've got to get clarification as to why these items are in the agreement, because we were under the impression it was just for a market research survey. And of course, they give us analysis after they conduct the survey, but if these are the items that they're talking about being in the 47,000, then maybe we need to discuss, possible price adjustment as well. So we've got to get more clarification on this. All right. In addition, the contract also includes services for questionnaire development, sample construction and purchasing, control measures, professional live phone interviews. They're going to be conducted on landline or cell phone. Online survey programming, data collection online, and their text survey platform, top line and extensive crosstab data report, comprehensive and advanced statistical analysis, executive survey summaries and PowerPoints that would be delivered, of course, after the survey is conducted, strategic consulting, and then, of course, availability to us before, during, and after the research. And again, this is completely taken out of the contract that was delivered to us the other day. The methodology that they will be using is 65% of live interviews. 10 to 15% of that would be conducted via a landline, 50 to 55% conducted via cell phone interviews, and then 35% would be text messaging surveys. The other clarification that we need to get is they mentioned voters receiving a text invitation, that they would get the phone information from a voter database. Wayne and I and Ferris was also on the call. We had a conference call with them last Monday, and after the call, they ended up clarifying that they would use all adults in Alabama, that they would not use the voter database. But then when we received the contract, it mentioned voters, so we've got to get clarification and correction on this as well. So this is this is in summary the contract that we were given. We've got, like I mentioned, we've got to get revisions to this and clarifications. Then once we do that, then, and we are good with what the particulars are in the agreement, then we would send to the Attorney General's office for review before continuing any further. So.
Sure. I feel like this is getting the cart before the horse to a large extent. You know, at the last commission meeting, we had discussed, many of the issues associated with the chairman's selection of this particular contract group, and feel as though it kind of flies in the face of the governor's letter. Feel as though it ignores the nearly 2,000 emails, that we've received and the data that we've received from them. Feel as though this is just the wrong time to be making any forward motion as it relates to this contract. So I'd like to make a motion, and that motion would be to postpone any discussion of this potential contract until the October meeting, so it could be budgeted properly along with other budgeted items, and also we could give it further consideration as it relates to the details of this contract, and I would hope potential bids and proposals from other organizations. So I make a motion to postpone this discussion until the October meeting.
Since you weren't on the prevailing side, that appears to be an improper motion because only those that would want to revisit it, delay it, would have to have been on the prevailing side, and you weren't on the prevailing side.
Well, I think there's a lot of questions here that need to be resolved and answered. I'm going to second that at this time.
But since he wasn't on the prevailing side, he can't bring it up. It has to be someone that voted for it to reconsider that vote. Also, to your point, though, I do see what you're saying. I think right now, all I'm concerned about is the 47.5, which, as she stated, does probably include other services that may not have been included. In other words, all we wanted was a survey. So based off what they said in their contract, it could possibly reduce the price. So based off that, then we probably might want to maybe wait until we get further clarification on that. Because if it's 47.5 and they're going to go out and do a whole lot of other things, I mean, that's something that I do think we probably need to look at. So, since I was on the prevailing side, then maybe we might want to maybe reconsider that. However, your basis upon saying that maybe Farris was, somehow leaning to another way, I think the company that was chosen is one of the leaders in that area. So I don't think that it was something based off the fact that they may have done work for Republicans, which I know that was something that some people have brought up. But as you can state, they do more than just that, just surveys. They do everything, marketing, all of that. They're a company, and I think what should probably happen, they probably just took the boilerplate contract and just basically threw our name in it, because, people do that. So, but at the same time, does that mean that the 47.5 includes that? So we should definitely need to clarify that, because I think in the next meeting, we were going to vote to probably fund that 47.5. But if it can be 27.5, I think that is something that's serious that we need. Any statement of work needs to be, ironed out. Because I know when we enter in contracts with IT companies, that can later on, that can come back to haunt you. However, I do not think that we need to put it back out to bid, because I think we've already voted that that was the company that we're going to go with. However, we do need further clarification on the amount and what that's going to be. And I don't know if we can do that today before we actually vote on the amount.
Yeah, I don't think that what we voted on, and I was not for it. You're right about that. Mm-hmm. I was not on the prevailing side at the last meeting, but what we agreed on is not what this is, and I have some reservations.
I agree with you on that. That's what I'm saying. That's why we need to clarify all the other services that they're going to do.
I've seen a lot of contracts. This is like a template contract. We asked them to do a certain thing, and also. That wasn't just Ferris's vote, it was a majority vote of the commission. It wasn't just my choice, it was a majority vote. But that looks like a template contract to me.
I agree, it's a template contract, and that's why, but considering we just got it late Thursday afternoon, we haven't had a chance to address the discrepancies in it yet. And of course, we want it to be a true representation of what we expect, obviously, in the scope of work and the
Yeah,
price.
Honestly, I feel like we're on the same page. My motion is simply to just postpone this discussion until we have adequate information, until the October meeting.
It's not a reconsider motion.
Yeah, but I think he did imply with the 2,000, because I think at one point, we did jump the gun and we did say, oh, we're gonna get rid of PBS. That was a quick knee-jerk reaction, which of course, I see people out here with signs, and I just wanted to say that it's not something that we stated, but I do know that when it did come out a certain kind of way, 2,000 emails did land in everybody's inbox, right? So what I'm saying right now, the objective of this survey is to just survey our people and find out exactly what they want. That's it. It's not, no question, as far as I know, no question is gonna be, hey, do you want to drop PBS? So I think everybody need to relax. It's not like that, but nevertheless, this is something that I think we need to do every year, which is to survey the people so that we can better serve them instead of us making the assumption what type of programming that they want. Because they may want different types, see more of some and less of other. That's all this is.
My motion is simply, really, it's consistent with what you're saying. Let's postpone this discussion and this decision until the October meeting so we can consider it properly.
Well, this is what I would suggest. We've presented proffered questions to Wayne, some of us, whoever wanted to, and he's going to review that, and then in the meantime, he can also review and get with McLaughlin on seeing exactly, whether this can be adjusted or not. And then at some point, either that meeting our next quarterly meeting, or a meeting between now and then, a called meeting, that we can then decide those questions. We can decide whether whether we need to have whatever questions Wayne has that he would then consult with McLaughlin, or, some of the details in the contract. We can decide that and then vote on it then. I don't think we need to postpone this any longer. Now's the time to do this.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, the objective of it is to survey the people, find out what they need. It's not survey the people and find out if they want to keep PBS. So we don't need to bring in the 2,000 emails on that. But only thing I'm concerned about is, as she stated, will that reduce the price? So I don't think we can vote on $47.5 today when it could be $27.5 later. Because once we commit to that publicly, then that's something that we have to, we have to do. So I didn't know all those questions were there. I thought everything was settled and we were just gonna vote on it. But those are some valid concerns, and so we probably should clear that up. And the only thing we need to vote on next time is the amount and the clarification of the contract. That's what I'm saying. I don't think we need to go back and say, oh, well, next meeting, let's bring in 10 other people, and then let's decide on that. Then next meeting, we'll look at the contract, and next thing you know, it's a year from now.
Yes,
So,
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your comments.
Hey, ma'am, you're out of order.
oh, thanks. So that's all I'm saying. But you're right. So you and I are on the same page.
You want to second my motion?
I move that we clarify the amount.
Well, we're going to do a lot of that in your meeting.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because in the second meeting, that's when we vote on the amount, yeah.
Okay.
You're saying we're talking about this in the foundation meeting?
Yes, sir.
Paying for it?
That was the agreement, the amount, because the foundation is the one that's asked to approve the funds. So but the fund amount was $47.5. But now that I hear that that's in question, then I don't think we could adequately move forward on that right now, because we don't know. And she came up with some good questions. But I don't think we need to move that we need to reconsider another company outside of McLaughlin. That's a whole different move. No, we did that the last meeting.
Oh, we don't need to answer that.
Oh, okay.
No other companies were considered. And Ferris, I heard your discussion off the record about why you selected this group.
And we voted on it.
We voted on it.
I do know
everything everything that I've ever done, I say in the meeting. I don't, not even secret.
I don't believe that's the case.
Okay. So we'll talk about the amount in the next meeting.
So is my motion on the floor? Or have you just personally rejected it?
I think it's an improper motion.
Can we have someone look into this? I think we need legal counsel.
Yeah, we can call McLaughlin at the break.
Oh, he's talking about his ability to be able to.
That's the question. Thank you, William.
Yeah, well, when I was on the city council and we did vote for something, and the only way it can be reconsidered, it would have to be according to Robert's Rules of Order. someone that was on the affirmative side to have to say, I want to reconsider my vote. So I'm not reconsidering my vote. I'm just in the next meeting, I think before we approve the amount, she brought up a lot of good questions, and that's what we need to do.
Okay, I mean, I believe it's an improper motion at this point.
Yes, sir.
Is that,
Mr. Chairman, can we move on? This is obviously an improper, motion. And also ask people to speak up. Right now I can hear, but for the last few minutes, the rain has been falling so hard I could not hear and blinked out a couple of times. So if they could use the microphone, I'd appreciate it.
you know, my motion is not about reconsideration, it's just about delaying.
I think by now.
And that's a very important distinction.
That's unavoidable at this point unless we can get clarification in between the meetings on the amounts. Somebody can make a phone call, then come back. But I don't think that's gonna move that fast, right?
We agreed to delay, right?
Okay.
Move that fast.
Oh, okay.
We do agree to delay.
Mr. Chairman, how long will it take for our staff to read through the contract and give us a written analysis of that? And then we can consider it a week, 2 weeks? I mean, how long does this take?
Well, we've already read it. I mean, I read it the moment I got it. We already know what's in it. That is, the bullet points are up there.
We've read through it, Les, but considering like I said, considering we just got it late Thursday afternoon, we have not had a chance to follow up with McLaughlin to address the questions.
Have the questions been sent to them?
No.
Okay.
No, they're not. We're going to proffer the questions to Wayne. The Wayne's going to decide what the questions are.
No. Questions on the contract, not the circle,
okay.
sorry.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, because I, like I said, I think those are valid concerns. I mean, I didn't look at it that way. I mean, if they gave you the whole package and it is a standard, and they just calculated all those services, and that's what it comes to, 47.5, but just to do a survey, and I know that, of course, survey development and all of that comes with the part of the survey, but did we get them to be our marketing?
Right.
Is that part of a fee or something that's of 47.5? So that's probably, it sounded like I say it was a standard boilerplate if we got to take it out, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, did the contract that was shown up on the screen for a while list all those things required, or did it say that as desired or as directed? If you go back to the first slide.
It does everything we asked them to do.
It says.
And it threw in a lot more, but I think that's a template contract. That if we want those things, we can have them.
That's how I read it as well. But, I probably only signed a few thousand contracts of what I know.
Okay.
If they're not gonna conduct these services for us, I would prefer for those items to be removed before we sign anything.
Because it does sound like you said worded that they will be our marketing director.
Well, that's what it says. It says client hereby designates M&A as its media buyer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We can't do that. If we sign it, then we may be legally obligated.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to take this up in the foundation meeting, but
That's fine.
That's my opinion that we shouldn't take this up now.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
That's a different thing.
Cart before the horse.
The next.
So this will be taken up now in the foundation meeting?
There's an item there to take up the expenditure, to make the expenditure from the foundation.
Yes.
We
It's on the
talked
agenda.
about the rainy day fund or other funds from foundation. So that will be taken up then.
That'll be popular amongst our members.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a survey. I think surveying your donors, surveying your viewers and finding out what they would like to see, I don't see how that's a bad thing. What's wrong with that?
Well,
we can discuss it.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Time for the public, right?
I was going to ask, the next item on the agenda is, we're going to do public comments first, so that's the next item on the agenda.
I don't think it's.
All right, next is public commentary. First is Tammy Holman.
I just want to say that the problem is that there were no other choices. There were no other opportunities. Everybody that's talked that is part of the staff has all talked about the bidding process and how different things have been bid out. And then this was just lobbed into a meeting. You've gotten 2,000 letters that people took time out of their day to do. And then you want to survey, pay $50,000 out of the rainy day fund, which is hedgy legally anyway, and survey 600 people. And it's going to be a bot, and it's going to come in on a text message, and people are not going to pay attention to that. The people that are here because they've made an effort because they love APT. This is your viewership. You're talking about surveying people who don't watch. This makes no sense to me. You're going against your actual 2 people that you had to consult, and then it's questionable if the motion was passed about not leaving PBS. Therefore, it's a moot point. So it's almost in violation of the letter if you go through with the survey, because that's exactly what Governor Ivey said not to do.
Thank you.
Okay, if I may respond. The 2,000 letters that we got were in response to, and most of them in my inbox was saying they wanted to keep PBS, right? Which I understand. We heard you on that one, so we keeping PBS. But what we're saying right now is there are several other things involved in this survey that are not even going to touch whether or not we want to, keep or get rid of PBS. There's nothing wrong with that. I understand most of you all are here. Some of you got signs because you think that this survey is only about PBS. It's not. It's finding out what their viewing habits are, finding out what they like, what more they would like to see, which now can help us make decisions on moving forward. I think any company should want to survey their viewers. Now, what I would say is that if all of you all want to make sure that you're one of those 600 that they call and they talk to, then that's something we can talk about. I mean, if every one of you all want to answer these questions and you want to make sure that we hear from you all because you all are here and you care, as you say, and I believe you do. You took time. Some of you all probably traveled, an hour and a half, 2 hours away? So we appreciate that, right? And I'm glad you all are here. But I hear you, and I don't see any reason why not. You can't sign up on the list, put your telephone number, your best way of contact, and then we can make sure, because it's our survey, that they talk to you all. And
Well, I don't know if that's scientific to do it that way. But.
Well, what I'm saying is they are the viewers. I mean, it's scientific in the sense that they're small, like 20, 30 people? I mean, what I'm saying is that, she has a point to a certain extent. What about talking to people that never look at it? So if that 600 is counting, do they drop that 600 off? Or is the prerequisite is that they have to view it, therefore they can offer an opinion on it, right? So, or are they just 600 random people, right? So those are some questions that we also need to ask. How are you going to know that they're viewers? And then we said, is there a list of people that we can call and find out who they are? Or is there something that we can probably collect a preliminary list on PBS's APTV itself? Because we call people that never looked at it, giving opinions on which way we need to go. That's not a good list either. But the point I'm trying to make is that I don't think that the purpose of this is to get rid of PBS. And I know the reason why I received 2,000 emails was because we threw it out that we might want to replace PBS because we were trying to decide whether or not we was going to renew that $2 million contract. And we needed to decide quick. So that's how it came up. Everybody got in an uproar, and boom, everybody emailed, inbox got rushed. But yeah, I hear you. I mean, I don't know. I'm asking. I mean, if you could make sure that these people get called in the survey.
Well, I don't know that it has to be scientific.
It would be scientific. I mean, most of these people here are for PBS, but I'm saying that's not even probably not be even a question. It is, what's your favorite? What would you like to see more of? I imagine those type of questions are going to be on there.
Yeah, but also that you have a situation where people, why aren't you watching it? What would you like to see?
Well,
people that
yeah.
I mean,
You're right.
our charge as commissioners is to represent every person
Yes,
as a
the
citizen
state.
of Alabama. Every
You're right,
person,
you're right.
not just certain people, but everyone.
I'm
Mr.
just
Chairman, Mr. Chairman, we're clearly infringing upon the public comment period, so all that time needs to be restored. But I have a question that relates to yours, and that is, I understand that some of the commissioners have sent in questions, and I'd like to be able to see those, because that would tell me and tell others what the tone you're seeking. So are you, could we hear what your questions were, Ferris, and whoever else may have submitted them?
What we're doing is we're sending them to Wayne as suggestions. And then Wayne is going to then formulate the questions. And then at some point, he will get with McLaughlin, and they use their expertise to do it. So
Would you share your questions, just so we could get a sense of it?
No, not at this point. And you're welcome to send questions, and all the commissioners are willing.
I personally think it's not our role to be coming up with these questions. We need a professional polling company.
All it would mean is that, as he stated, it would just be a suggestion. Wayne would be the one that would be the final person to decide that, send it to McLaughlin, then McLaughlin, who are the experts, would then advise on which way to go.
Now,
also, if you want to look at my questions, I want to look at your questions, for what? All it's going to do is be argumentative and just go back and forth debate. Some people lean liberal, some people lean conservative. So if I send something that's liberal and you conservative, then what's the point? I mean, now we're going to argue our opinions. We can talk about that over lunch.
Well, and also, the questions we have, we will eventually, before they're actually asked, we will approve them as a commission after it's gone through the whole system. We will get the final approval, or what, anyway. Okay.
Okay, next. Our next speaker is Robin Snyder.
Thank you. Couple of things. Y'all need to read up on Robert's Rules of Order. There was a motion, and it was seconded. You need to vote it up or vote it down. Excuse me, that's one thing. Another thing is, with this contract the way it is, y'all really need to go over this, because this is so ambiguous as far as what they're going to ask. I don't know how they came up with 600 people, but 600 people to me is not an overview of the whole state of Alabama. I really think y'all need to postpone and figure out what this contract is actually going to say before you commit the money to it. And because I'm still not sure what y'all are asking. It's great to have a survey. Companies do it all the time. But if you don't know what your ultimate goal is, then why do the survey? Is it to find out what kind of programming? Is that what that's going to do? I'm not sure. It's just too ambiguous at this part. So I think that you need to go back to McLaughlin and say, these are the questions we want answered. Can you do them? How much is it going to cost? And what's the timeline you can do these in? Again, I have a lot of questions about this, and I think all of you should too. And if it takes postponing, I hate postponing anything, but if it takes postponing, that's what you need to do. I don't think you can vote on this the way it is. Thank you.
All right, next is Tom Gordon.
Before we go on, can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'd like to read just one of the questions because I want you to have an idea of what the approach is. This one is dealing with education. In 2019, Alabama passed the Alabama Literacy Act. Alabama's national standardized reading scores for fourth graders moved from 49th in 2019 to 34th in the nation in 2024. This science of reading approach using phonics, phonemic awareness, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension is working. And now Governor Kay Ivey has earmarked $45 million and state funding in the FY27 budget to help older elementary students improve their reading skills. Alabama Public Television's mission statement begins with a directive to provide essential educational services with the highest quality direct instructional content through digital streaming. We must find or create programs that stress the phonics approach, as they are needed now to help kids learn to read. Considering Alabama's focus on improving literacy, how strongly do you agree that APT should develop or air more programming that supports the science of reading, or phonics, and literacy skills in schools and homes? My goal is to move Alabama up further and further. And if I asked you to raise your hands right now, how many of you learned to read in school? Raise your hands. I mean, I just want to know, because my guess is we have a good number of readers here. And the more you read up on what they're doing in our schools in changing the direction is tremendous. And one of the questions I want to see answered in here by the state, taxpayers across the state, whoever it is, the 600 random people, whether they are watchers or non-watchers, that they see how important this is and how Alabama Public Television is part of that, and how we can develop more and more programming in that same vein of phonics and not this old see and say type method of reading, teaching reading. So I just wanted you to hear the tone of the questions. I don't have an agenda other than to make, if we're with APT, make it the best programming in the nation, where we really make a difference on the education of children, so that everyone in the group can raise their hands and say, yeah, I'm a reader. And you had the schooling, you had the phonics, you had it that helped you get there. And so this is a chance for us to make a difference too. And I think this isn't a we and a they. This isn't us. Alabama Public Television working together to make a difference. As far as when we talk about this, it needs to be in the foundation meeting, actually, because it is foundation money. So the vote should not be taken at this point in time. Anyway, I really want to see the very best in public television. And I think this is one way of doing it, is improving the reading programs and adding them to PBS Kids. And that, I just wanted to say that.
Phoebe, thank you for that. Was that one of your questions that you submitted?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and do you know that the other questions submitted are similar to that in content, or have you seen the other questions?
They were turned in, and we're supposed to get them after they have gone through them and compiled them. And I know that Wayne's a good guy, and he'll do a good job.
Will the final questions be read or made public?
Yeah, they'll be available to the board. So public.
I mean, the final questions being offered by whomever is distributing the survey.
I'll presume that we vote on them to approve them, and whatever was gone through all the process we're going to have to do that. Yeah, we would vote on certain questions. Yeah, they'd be public.
Yeah, if you had a problem with my question, you know, we would discuss it. I think this is much more. I think this is a good thing. I think a survey is a good thing, because I know people that their kids watch PBS and they love it. I think there's a lot of good programs there. I think that we can even do better sometimes because we have Heather and her crew, and they are an amazing bunch. So if there's any weaker programming, we can substitute something that they've done. It's not that it's doing away with PBS personally. It's more a matter of making a difference in our overall programming to make sure that we are helping the schools. Like when they go out to do their teaching, working with teachers, having programs where they are, a lot of the teachers have not had the phonics teaching in their school when they went to college, and it was a different approach. And I know that my granddaughter has had it, and she's done a great deal of research on it. And she's going to be teaching 3rd grade this year. And the impact that these teachers can have is amazing. But the impact APT can have on the teachers is also amazing, because we can make a difference in those teachers that don't know how to do this. We can present programming that helps the whole situation and move us up. Like Mississippi is the one in 2013, they scored 49th in the nation on their 4th grade reading tests. And then they put in the science of reading approach. And that was introduced into the schools, and they had screening for dyslexia back in kindergarten, rather than finding these poor kids pushed through the schools with dyslexia and not learning how to read. And so they had offered special help in the schools. All right, here's where APT can step in, offering special help with those kids that are struggling. Anyway, Alabama passed their Literacy Act, of course, later. It was, and then they are also, they ranked 49th at first, and now they've moved up to 34th in 2024. And so, and I'd like to see it go further than that, because I've met people that do not know how to read, and they're adults, and it's so sad. You talk about taking this to the prisons. Make a difference in this world. You know, let's make sure every person has that wonderful gift of learning to read.
And I want to mention that regarding the prisons, that one time I visited a prison. It was a former executive director, and we went directly there, and we sought to have GED and other reading skills through APT to actually educate those prisoners, so when they get out, they will actually be able to more readily thrive along with the trades they had. And that was, and so I even suggested that we go to the Circuit Judges Association and make it as condition of probation with people that they, but because APT can and has offered GED programs and other reading programs, that they make it a condition of probation. Or I even wrote a bill once. It's called No Read, No Release. That means that before they can be paroled, they must know how to read and even get their GED before being eligible for parole. So I think that's an excellent idea and something that's in our grasp.
Mr. Chairman, this is Les. I'd like to thank Bibi for pointing that out. I agree with you, and of course, you know my background, what I've done with it. Individual effort and group efforts and organizations like this do produce results. Bibi, you left out one thing about Mississippi. They also, after normalizing the data, they also scored #1 in math. So, and neither of these were supported by the public school system.
Can we continue? Yes. Okay. Next is Eve Parker.
First of all, I want to say it's been great hearing all the wonderful things y'all are doing, and I love APT. I think everybody here loves APT, so thank you for working so hard on our behalf. I do find it, there was another speaker who talked about the waste. I find it very frustrating that you all would be willing to spend $47.5 or whatever on a survey that it was a no-bid contract. KIV already said, let's go forward. The survey isn't going to provide any information to inform us that I can see. If you want to know what your viewers want, you have the email list of your donors. Send out an email and ask, what do we want? I watch the PBS NewsHour every evening, and on Fridays I watch the Washington Week and Capitol Review, whatever, and that's mostly all of the television I watch. Although I will sometimes watch Ken Burns or Nova or things like that. But I can tell you what I, as a viewer, want to see. I don't think we need to spend that much money, and this is money that's donated. I mean, every month my husband and I donate, and we have for 40 years. And it seems to me that our opinions, people who are actually financially supporting you, and these are hard-earned dollars, that people who are financially supporting you ought to count more than people who don't even watch APT. And so I don't know. And you opened the meeting talking about Thomas Jefferson and interviewing Thomas Jefferson at American Village or whatever. And I just want to remind you all that Thomas Jefferson fervently believed in education, and that having an informed electorate was important to a functioning democracy, as well as separation of church and state, and that I would hope that you all would channel Thomas Jefferson in that and continue on that mission of education. And I think that's all I have to say.
All right, next is Michael Schneiderman. You're on pass? Okay. Elaine Witt.
Thank you. And thank you for taking public comments. I think that this commission doesn't know what kind of poll, I don't know what kind of poll you asked McLaughlin Group for. It was very clear when it was brought up by Commissioner Stevens and Commissioner Barnett that it was to be a poll about whether or not to keep APT. But now we hear Commissioner Green saying that it's a viewer poll, whether to keep PBS per the governor's letter. And now we have Commissioner Green. So I think if there's this confusion, and you're saying it's to be a viewer poll, which is what the most recent speaker, I mean, I think there's a lack of clarity even among the people who voted for it, what the purpose is of this poll. I think that transparency is a real problem with this poll. You know, we hear all about all the bidding that you do for all the services that you get, except for this. This is a relationship between the chairman of the board and Mr. McLaughlin. This should be a staff function to find a polling company through a legitimate selection process. We had Pam Huff and Eric Land in here who offered to help with this process and who mentioned that the University of Alabama is an excellent polling company, but it's all about a relationship between the chairman of the board, who clearly wants to get rid of PBS, and this specific pollster. You've proposed taking this money out of the rainy day fund. You couldn't use the rainy day fund to avoid laying off 11 employees, but you're going to use, which is an emergency fund, but now you want to use it for something that is clearly not an emergency, because the governor only said you needed to do it if you were getting rid of PBS. And you don't even have time to do a search for a legitimate pollster who's not believed by your donor base to be political. I cannot think of anything you can do that would kill your fundraising more effectively than taking this money out of the foundation. It needs to be budgeted properly through the regular APT budget. The foundation, you know where that money comes from? It comes from us. That's our money. And if you want to shut down fundraising, you go ahead with this contract with McLaughlin Fund. And that's not a threat, because I will continue to give to APT, because I love APT. But that is contempt for your donors, to take that money out of the foundation and not to budget it properly.
I'll be brief. Once again, you all are operating off a false premise. The premise is that, of course, we want to get rid of PBS, and that's the only purpose of it. So, I mean, if we can stop with the false premises. I mean, I understand you want to run with it, but that's not the case. So let's just move forward.
Is that what Mr. Stevens says? What was the purpose of the poll?
William, I was a part of conversations you may not have been a part of. I disagree with you, with all due respect.
Well, I'm speaking of a public conversation. Now, if you were part of a private conversation, I can't speak to that.
I recall Stevens saying that he wanted to get rid of the PBS NewsHour.
Yes, specifically.
Specifically.
It goes against everything he stands for. That's been in the news.
Look, honestly, I'll be quite honest with you. There are some things that PBS has done in the past that I'm not a fan of. I would like to be able to go in and then get what we want and not having to buy the whole thing at the same time.
You don't have to watch
But
it.
hold on. So what I'm saying is that that's irrelevant because the people may still like it. I don't have to be a 100% fan of it, but I understand that we on this board are here to serve the state of Alabama and the people of Alabama. So in the end, I mean, you know, we have to listen, but at the same time, we are on the board and so we can make some decisions in which way it's gonna go, so. That's all.
Okay. Next is Linda Varon.
Hello. I was told that we weren't going to speak about the survey at all, and I took all that out of my speech, so I'm not sure exactly how relevant it is. But the first thing that I would like to say is how impressed I am by APT and hearing each person say what they do, because it's pretty remarkable. And having been in the media, advertising, production, selling, whatever, all those things for my more than 50-year career, to know what the engineering department is doing, which is remarkable. And you would never hear about it unless your TV went off, unless they went off the air. You know, so it's all behind the scenes. I mean, all the programming that's being done, it really is amazing. What I would like to say about surveys, in my experience, is that they're rarely accurate. You survey random people, you ask them what they're going to do, they could change their mind tomorrow. You have, in TV land, you have ratings that are spent zillions of dollars, you know, for the Nielsen's and for all that. You just have to look at them and see that you guys have incredible viewership. So I'll give my quick speech, but I don't know how relevant it is. I'm asking everyone to remember APT's history. In 1955, seeking to reach underserved rural areas, Alabama launched the first educational TV network in the country. 70 years later, we should not separate ourselves from the national programming or the local programming. We'll take a giant step backwards. You all have been educating Alabamians, adults and kids, enriching their lives for 70 years. APT has thousands of members. It's a fair assumption the majority will cancel their memberships, maybe even demand their contributions back if they can't get, for example, PBS, some of the other programming that's provided. Losing these loyal members and maybe having to refund their money will surely lead to the end of APT. I don't think that's what anyone in this room wants. Remember, pre-K education is not available to 60% of our state's children. PBS fills that gap. PBS educational resources for teaching basics like reading and math are essential in schoolrooms throughout Alabama. This will be lost if APT severs ties with PBS. I moved to Alabama. I'm not from here, but I've now lived here almost 40 years. APT is one of the things that I can point to as being proud to be an Alabamian because of all the things that you do. And so I want to thank you all, and I just hope that you're able to go on with what you do. Thank you.
Marilyn Lands.
Thank you. Good morning, or it's afternoon now. So good afternoon. I'm Marilyn Lands, Alabama House of Representatives, District 10, and I'm so glad that I could be here with y'all today. I have gotten, over the years, and especially since the federal cuts, I have heard from many of our constituents about how much public television and public radio mean to them and how much they add to their lives. And so I thank you all for the work you do, and it's been lovely to hear about some of the programming this morning. But I do want to to just share that, I hear so much from so many people about the role of public television and public radio in their lives. And up in Huntsville, WLRH, our public radio, no longer has NPR programming. And so many people in our community are mourning that loss. And I think public television and public radio add so much to our quality of life here. And all things are connected. It all ties to, ultimately, to economic development and the ability to attract people to our state. And it is something that I'm very proud of here in our state, the history of public television. So again, I thank you all for the work that you do, but I hope that we will continue to offer the viewers what they want. And from where I live, they're speaking very loud and very clear. I think that most of us know. We've got people in the room today who are telling you what folks want. And also, I want to thank all of you for being here today to speak up and share your opinion. That's the way the system works, or at least that's the way it's supposed to. Thank you.
Next is Jim Richardson. Okay. Wayne Laney. Liz Laney.
I'd love to have a copy of the WLRH report that's going to get attached to your minutes, and that's all I have to say right now.
All right, Pam Caruso.
Thank you. Pam Caruso from Huntsville, and thank you for allowing us to speak. This is my 4th meeting. I still want to talk about WLRH. We have reviewed all the minutes. We have watched and listened to all your meetings. We never can tell where you made a decision or had a vote to take NPR off of WLRH. It's not clear. I would love to know when you made that decision and how that vote went. The other thing I'd like to say is thank you for the APT staff. You guys do tremendous work. It's lovely to hear you. And the disdain that I feel from the commission to the public bothers me. We were told in one meeting that they didn't want us to speak because we are the vocal minority, and they didn't need to hear from us. That bothers me. It should bother you. 2,000 people sent emails, and we heard that those were from bots. That should bother all of us. So I am concerned about your survey. I hope it is not partisan. I hope it doesn't ask questions in a partisan nature, though I kind of find that hard to believe with McLaughlin and Associates doing it. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dana Ellis.
I will pass for now.
Okay. That's all the commentary.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the scheduling of the next meeting. Now, I cannot be here in October, and so I was going to ask that we have our next meeting on September the 29th. If that was agreeable with everyone, I've arranged for it to be, as we talked about last meeting, in Huntsville.
I would not be available.
Okay. Would you be available by electronic means?
No, October. Or November. We get to go to November.
Well, okay. I'm gonna entertain a motion. I need to, September 28th is when I've kind of arranged it with, I have arranged it with Space and Rocket Center for us to meet there, so. So anyway, and they can accommodate the public, of course. But anyway, so I would like to ask that September 29th be the date that we do it, so. And hopefully you can join us.
Some of the staff is not going to be here during that time in September. That's imperative to this meeting. Would you object to Lorraine reaching out to them and seeing what they have available for October and November, or?
If the staff isn't available, why don't we just have it in November before Thanksgiving?
Perfect.
Well.
Yeah.
November the 10th was the date that was.
Well, anyway, I've arranged it with September.
We can cancel that. That can be canceled.
I'm not gonna be here part of November either. So,
Well, I'm gonna be gone for 10 days, mid-September, and I'm the one that arranges all of this. And I don't see how I can get that done before or after.
okay.
I mean. Well, the other thing too is we also,
If Mr.
The other
Ferris
thing-
is the only one who can't be here, and that's
Okay.
the date that was set, then you can go on without Mr. Ferris. Yeah.
there's the other thing too is in that meeting, we report the year ending, and from a financial standpoint, it's a year-end report, and we're still active in September from a fiscal standpoint.
Yeah, I know, that would be a perfect time to have the budget come before us and right before it starts.
Mr. Chairman, I think we ought to have it in September also, because I've got a similar issue.
The last several meetings, fall meetings, have been in November. So I think that would be best.
Maybe you could pick a date you will be here in November.
Well, I make a motion for September 29th. 29th?
Yeah. Do I hear a second?
Yeah, I've already seconded it. I've already seconded the motion.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion about it?
Well, all we can do is vote on it at this point, that's
Okay.
all.
All right.
So just throw it up for
All
vote. If it
okay.
doesn't pass, then we pick another day.
Okay.
That's simple.
All in favor, would you mind calling roll, Mr. Secretary?
Pete Conroy,
No.
Logan Glass,
Les Barnett votes yes.
How do you vote?
It's not helpful. Yeah, I'm a no. If the staff can't help, I mean, I don't see why we would want to do this if the staff is not going to be able to properly arrange this and get it set up. So I'm a no. William Green,
I'm gonna go yes.
Ferris Stevens,
Yes.
B.B. Williams.
I'm voting yes, but I'd like to include a visit to WLRH while we're there with a tour if they'll do it.
Okay.
Okay,
Motion passes.
motion passes. Okay, there being no further business, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn, motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's 29th. I second. It's 29th, right?
Yes, September 29th.
Huntsville.
All in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're adjourned.
So when is the other meeting start?
Just whenever you say, I'll call.
So if you wanted to speak during the foundation meeting, we do have to fill a form out again, just letting you know that.
Well, here's what I'm saying. They need to take all that out.
When will the foundation meeting start?
What time?
We'll start that in,
Sooner the better. These people are all waiting.
yeah, 12:30. That's 12 minutes.
No, 12:30? It's 12:25 right now.
Oh, it is? I got 12:18. Okay, well, 1 o'clock then. Oh, okay. My bad. I didn't know.
1 o'clock.
Nobody mentioned that. Yeah, 1 o'clock, yeah.
We adjourn.
I didn't know nobody had it.
Hey, I talked.
I didn't hear anybody mention anything about lunch.
Keith Zig, and he said he
I knew
could
it.
clear up questions you have. If you would just if y'all call him now, he can tell you.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So Keith Zig said to call him now, and he can clear up those questions.
I'd rather,
Well, he's talked to us
no,
now.
I appreciate you calling me, but I don't want to be rushed having the conversation. I'd be more than happy to call him after the board meeting, but I don't want to be rushed trying to get questions.
Yeah, what we would want to do is make it clear and decide whether all those things are in there, so we can decide on the vote at the next meeting, whether all those things are in there or not. He says they're not. He said that's just a temporary contract. He said that the only thing we haven't agreed with is a survey and nothing else.
I've got to run to the restroom.
Okay.
2.5 hours.
Let's do the to be careful when I talk to the public. Man, you be stirring a whole lot up. You make everybody mad.
Mr. Stevens, I just want to say you are a disgrace to the human race. And you are a yes man, and I am very disappointed. You are a yes man.
Oh, no, I'm all for the survey. I'm for the survey.
You voted yes on the survey and yes to a meeting when the staff can't attend.
No, I voted on the motion to.
We need to get them to revise the contract, then remove those
Yeah,
items.
that's a no-brainer. I'm seeking to go ahead and just vote on this. Thank you.